A scientist collecting samples made a terrifying discovery. The hull of a spacecraft returned from outer space was covered in some kind of strange red mold. He immediately pulled out a test tube to take a sample, but in the rush, he didn't notice that the substance had gotten onto his shoes. In an instant, 2 inches of solid rubber were completely eaten through, and he had no idea. Meanwhile, a man was frantically dialing an international number. He kept repeating the same thing. NASA's canister had been compromised. Something terrible was inside. They needed help. But before he could finish, a scream erupted from the other end of the line, and the call went dead. 3 weeks later, biologist Elizabeth and 2 military advisors arrived at the small town the man had mentioned. The entire town was under quarantine. The streets were empty. Every resident had vanished. Before long, they found the NASA canister. A crack ran along its surface, and inside the crack, red fungal threads. Elizabeth quickly confirmed. It appeared to be an unknown microorganism. While they were investigating, one of the advisors spotted the missing residents on a rooftop. All 3 climbed up, and what they saw made their skin crawl. Bodies lay on every single rooftop. Chests and skulls had burst open, as if something had clawed its way out from inside. Yet there were no traces left behind. As they made their way back down, Elizabeth suddenly lost consciousness. No one noticed that the fungus had already penetrated her shoe soles and entered her body. May immediately drew her pistol, because she knew the infection had begun. The military took over the scene. All samples were sealed in liquid nitrogen. All bodies were incinerated. The entire town was wiped off the map, and that sample was shipped to a military research facility in Texas. The military thought it was over. What they didn't know was that the real disaster had only been delayed by 20 years. 2 decades later, the base was shut down due to budget cuts. All critical files were removed. Everything else was forgotten deep underground, until one night, an alarm suddenly went off in the abandoned lab. 2 warehouse workers followed the signal down to the subterranean level, where they discovered a laboratory corridor that had been hidden for years. While they were investigating, the underground refrigeration system failed. The sample sealed away 20 years ago woke up. Its first host was a cockroach. It crawled through the underground pipes and out of the lab. The moment it emerged from a drain, a car crushed it on the spot. But only the cockroach died. The fungus survived. It worked its way into the car's undercarriage, eventually reaching the trunk, where it infected a dead kitten. When the driver popped the trunk, the dead kitten stood back up, then leaped out and disappeared. The driver stood there, frozen. The next second, he felt something inside his body start to move. At the same time, down in the lab, the workers found a mass of rats tangled together in a grotesque rat king. They were coated in green slime, and that slime was oozing out from deep within the laboratory. The 2 men didn't realize the danger. They turned around and left, but when they got back to the surface, they found a deer had wandered into the warehouse. Before either of them could react, the elevator doors slowly opened. The infected driver stepped out, his body completely deformed, covered head to toe in green slime. The moment he saw living people, he attacked. The 2 men ran for their lives, and the infection began spreading fast. More and more people came into contact with the green substance. That's when Robert, retired for years, arrived on the scene. The instant he saw the green slime, the color drained from his face. Because 20 years ago, he'd seen this exact thing with his own eyes. He finally understood. When the military evacuated the lab, they'd left behind the most dangerous sample of all. To stop the spread, he pulled a nuclear device from his trunk. The 2 workers suited up in hazmat gear, went back into the underground lab, and placed the device at the deepest point. As the countdown began, everyone scrambled to get out. Minutes later, a massive fireball swallowed the entire underground facility. The next day, the nuclear detonation made national headlines. The military pinned all the blame on Robert, the retired researcher. As for that fungus from outer space, whether it was truly destroyed for good